You get up every morning. You go to work or school. You respond to messages. You show up when people need you. You laugh at the right moments. You function. You cope. You carry on. And from the outside, you look completely fine. But on the inside, something is off, something you cannot quite name. A heaviness that was not there before, a flatness where feeling used to be, an exhaustion that sleep does not fix, a distance between you and your own life that grows a little wider every day. You tell yourself it is stress. You tell yourself everyone feels this way. You tell yourself you have nothing to be depressed about. Your life is not that bad. Other people have real problems. You should just push through. So you do. You push through, day after day, week after week, functioning on the outside, quietly struggling on the inside. And nobody notices, because you are very good at looking fine. Here is what I need you to understand before we go any further. Depression does not always look like sadness. It does not always look like someone crying in a darkened room, unable to get out of bed, visibly falling apart. That is the extreme end, and it is real, but it is not the only face depression wears. Depression has quieter faces, subtler faces, faces that look, from the outside, like perfectly ordinary people having perfectly ordinary days. Today, we are going to talk about 5 of those faces, 5 hidden signs of depression that most people, including most people who have them, completely miss. If you recognize yourself in what I am about to describe, please keep watching, because understanding is the first step, and understanding could change everything. Before we get into the 5 hidden signs, let's make sure we have the right picture of what depression actually is. Because most people think depression is an emotion, a feeling of sadness. And yes, sadness is one of depression's most recognizable features. But depression is not simply sadness. And that misunderstanding is exactly why so many people miss it in themselves and in the people they love. Depression is a medical condition, a disorder of the brain and body that affects how you think, how you feel, how you sleep, how you eat, how you move through the world, and how you experience yourself and your own life. It involves measurable changes in brain chemistry, particularly in serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine. It involves changes in brain structure and function, including reduced activity in the prefrontal cortex and altered functioning of the limbic system. It involves inflammatory processes in the body. It is as real and as physical as diabetes or hypertension. And like diabetes and hypertension, it does not always announce itself dramatically. It can develop slowly, quietly, in ways that are easy to rationalize, minimize, or miss entirely. The World Health Organization estimates that over 280 million people worldwide live with depression. It is one of the leading causes of disability globally, and a significant proportion of those 280 million people have never been diagnosed because their depression did not look the way they expected depression to look. Depression wears many masks, and the 5 we are about to discuss are among its most convincing. Hidden sign number 1. And this is one of the most common and most consistently overlooked signs of depression there is. You are tired. Not ordinary tired, not the kind of tired that a good night of sleep fixes. You are tired in a way that goes bone deep, a fatigue that is present when you wake up, that follows you through the day, that does not respond to rest, that does not lift on weekends or holidays. You sleep 8, 9, 10 hours, and you wake up feeling exactly as exhausted as when you went to bed. Or the opposite happens. You cannot sleep at all. You lie awake at night, not because you are anxious about anything specific, but because your brain simply will not settle. And the days that follow are heavy and gray and harder than they should be. People with this kind of exhaustion almost always attribute it to something else. They blame their schedule, their workload, their diet, their age, their stress levels. They go to the doctor and have blood work done. The results come back normal, and they are left confused because the exhaustion is absolutely real, but there is no physical explanation for it. Here is the explanation. Depression significantly disrupts the brain's regulation of energy and sleep. It alters the balance of neurotransmitters that govern the sleep-wake cycle. It dysregulates cortisol, the hormone that should rise in the morning to energize you and fall at night to allow sleep. It reduces the restorative stages of sleep, even when sleep duration appears normal. The result is a body and mind that are perpetually running on empty, not because of what you are doing, but because of what is happening in your brain. If you have been exhausted for weeks or months with no clear physical cause, and that exhaustion is affecting your ability to function, your enjoyment of life, and your sense of yourself, please do not dismiss it as laziness or weakness. Persistent, unexplained exhaustion is one of depression's most consistent and most missed calling cards. Hidden sign number 2, and this one is the clinical hallmark of depression, yet it remains one of the most commonly missed signs because it happens so gradually that people rarely notice it is happening until it is well established. There are things you used to love, music that moved you, a sport or hobby that gave you energy, cooking, reading, spending time with certain people, creative work, going out, worshiping, exercise, movies, whatever it was, it used to matter to you. It used to give you something, and somewhere along the way, quietly, without any dramatic announcement, it stopped. You still do some of those things, but they feel flat now, going through the motions. You are present in the activity, but not inside it. You are doing the thing, but not feeling the thing. A kind of invisible glass wall has appeared between you and your own life, and everything on the other side feels distant, muted, slightly unreal. This is called anhedonia, and it is one of the 2 core defining features of clinical depression. Anhedonia is the reduced or complete inability to feel pleasure from activities that previously brought enjoyment. It is not boredom. It is not being particular about what you enjoy. It is the partial or total switch off of the brain's reward and pleasure system. And here is what makes it so easy to miss. People with anhedonia rarely say, "I cannot feel pleasure." They say, "I've just been busy. I've lost motivation. I'm not really into that anymore. I just don't feel like it lately." They rationalize the flatness as a phase, as getting older, as changing interests, as having too much on their plate. But when the flatness covers everything, when nothing brings the spark it used to bring, when you look at your own life and feel strangely indifferent to it, that is not a phase. That is your brain's chemistry telling you something is wrong. Anhedonia does not have to be total to be significant. Even a significant reduction in your ability to enjoy the things that used to matter to you, sustained over weeks, is a sign that deserves attention. Hidden sign number 3, and this is the one that surprises people the most, because it looks nothing like what most people expect depression to look like. You are irritable, short-tempered, easily frustrated. Things that would not normally bother you send you over the edge. Small inconveniences feel enormous. Someone says the wrong thing and you snap. Traffic makes you disproportionately angry. A minor change in plans throws you completely. You feel a simmering, low-level agitation that is always just beneath the surface, and you do not know where it is coming from. You might not even recognize this as a symptom of anything. You might just think you are stressed, or going through a difficult season, or that other people are particularly annoying lately. And the people around you, the ones who bear the brunt of it, might just think you have become difficult. But here is the clinical reality. Irritability and anger are recognized symptoms of depression, particularly in men, teenagers, and people from cultures where expressing sadness or vulnerability is not socially acceptable. In these populations, depression very frequently presents not as visible sadness, but as agitation, irritability, frustration, and anger. When the brain's chemistry is dysregulated by depression, when serotonin is depleted, and the emotional regulation systems of the prefrontal cortex are compromised, the threshold for emotional reactions drops dramatically. Your nervous system is running hot. Everything lands harder. Everything costs more to process. The capacity to tolerate frustration narrows, and the result looks from the outside like a short fuse. But from the inside, it feels like barely holding it together. If you have been significantly more irritable than usual for an extended period, if the irritability feels out of proportion, if it is affecting your relationships, if it comes with a background hum of something that might be described as misery, please consider that it might not be about the traffic or the people or the stress. It might be about what is happening in your brain. Hidden sign number 4, and this one is particularly painful, both for the person experiencing it and for the people in their lives who feel the distance growing without understanding why. You have been pulling back. From friends you used to see regularly, from family gatherings you used to enjoy, from social events you used to look forward to, from conversations you used to initiate, from relationships you genuinely value. You cancel plans. You go quiet in group chats. You give one-word answers to people who deserve more. You sit in rooms full of people you care about and feel utterly, inexplicably alone. And the strange thing is, you do not always know why. You are not deliberately choosing distance. You are not angry at anyone. You do not dislike the people in your life. You might actually miss them, miss who you were when you were with them. But every time you think about reaching out, picking up the phone, showing up, something stops you. An invisible weight, an exhaustion that is not just physical, a sense that the effort required to be present, to be social, to perform the version of yourself that other people are used to, is simply more than you have available right now. This withdrawal is not introversion. It is not antisocial personality. It is a symptom. Depression drains the social energy that human connection requires. It disrupts the neurological reward systems that normally make social interaction feel pleasurable and worthwhile. When depressed, the brain does not generate the same warmth, anticipation, and reward from social connection that it normally does. And so the natural pull toward other people weakens, and the pull toward isolation strengthens. The tragedy of this particular symptom is that social isolation is itself one of the most powerful drivers of worsening depression. The more you withdraw, the worse the depression becomes. The worse the depression becomes, the harder connection feels. It is a spiral, and it is one that the person trapped inside it rarely has the clarity to see. If you have been withdrawing from people you love, not because of conflict, not because of busyness, but because of a quiet, exhausting sense that you simply cannot show up right now, please take that seriously, not as a character failing, as a signal. Hidden sign number 5. And this is the one that most significantly affects people's professional and academic lives, often causing enormous secondary problems before anyone connects it to depression. Your thinking has changed. You used to be able to concentrate, to hold a train of thought, to read a document, absorb information, follow a conversation, make decisions with reasonable confidence. And now, something has shifted. Your focus keeps slipping. You read the same paragraph 3 times and still cannot absorb it. You sit in meetings and realize you have not retained a single thing said in the last 10 minutes. You make mistakes you would not normally make. You feel foggy, slow, like your brain is running through mud. And making decisions, even small ones, has become disproportionately hard. What to eat, what to reply to, which task to do first. Decisions that should take seconds now take minutes and leave you feeling drained in a way that feels completely out of proportion to their importance. You might chalk this up to getting older, to being overworked, to having too much on your mind. And your doctor, your boss, and your family might agree, because the cognitive symptoms of depression are almost never the first thing anyone considers. But here is what is actually happening. Depression physically affects brain function. The reduced activity in the prefrontal cortex, the brain's executive center, impairs working memory, attention, and cognitive flexibility. The inflammatory processes associated with depression slow neural transmission. The sleep disruption caused by depression degrades cognitive performance at every level. Brain fog is not a metaphor. It is a description of real, measurable changes in how the depressed brain processes information. And what makes this symptom particularly cruel is what it does to a person's self-image. People who are used to being sharp, capable, and on top of things suddenly feel like they are failing at work, at school, at life. And instead of connecting this decline to a treatable medical condition, they internalize it as evidence of their own inadequacy. They are not inadequate. Their brain is unwell. And those are two very different things. So you have recognized yourself in one sign, or in 2, or perhaps in all 5. What do you do now? The first thing I want to say, and I want to say it very clearly, is that recognizing these signs in yourself is not a reason to panic. It is not a verdict. It is not a life sentence. It is information. And information is the beginning of help. Depression is one of the most treatable mental health conditions that exists. With the right support, the right approach, and the right care, the overwhelming majority of people with depression experience significant improvement. People recover. People get their lives back. This is not false hope. This is what the research consistently shows. But depression does not get better by being pushed through, minimized, or ignored. It responds to intervention, and the earlier that intervention comes, the better the outcome. So here is what I want you to do. Talk to someone. Start there. A doctor, a therapist, a counselor, a trusted person in your life who can help you take the next step. You do not have to have it all figured out. You do not have to be certain. You just have to say, out loud to another human being, that something has not been right, that you have not been okay. That one sentence, I have not been okay, has started more healing journeys than any other. If you are in Nigeria or across Africa and access to professional mental health support feels difficult, it is getting more available. Online therapy platforms, community mental health workers, hospital psychiatric units, and trained counselors exist in more places than many people realize. Ask your doctor for a referral. Search for mental health services in your city. Reach out to a mental health NGO in your country. The support exists. You may have to look for it, but it is there. Please do not wait until you are falling apart to ask for help. Depression responds best to early, consistent, compassionate care. You would not walk on a broken leg for 6 months before seeing a doctor. Your brain deserves the same urgency and the same care. Before you go, I need to say something directly to anyone who has been quietly carrying these signs, alone, in silence, behind a functioning exterior for longer than anyone knows. What you have been doing, showing up, functioning, holding it together while quietly struggling, takes an extraordinary amount of strength. More than most people around you will ever realize or acknowledge. But I need you to hear this. Strength is not the same as silence, and carrying something alone does not make it lighter, it just makes it lonelier. Depression lies to you. It tells you that you are not sick enough to need help, that other people have it worse, that you should be able to handle this on your own, that reaching out is weakness, that nobody wants to hear it, that you should just push through. Every one of those things is a lie. And depression is very, very good at telling them convincingly. The bravest thing you can do, right now, today, is decide that you have been quiet long enough, that you deserve the same care and compassion you would offer anyone else who was struggling, that understanding what is happening inside you is not self-indulgent, it is essential. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are not making it up. You are not being dramatic. You are a human being whose brain needs support. And getting that support is not giving up. It is showing up for yourself in the most important way possible. If this video helped you see yourself a little more clearly today, please share it. Someone in your life is carrying these hidden signs right now. Someone who has been waiting for the language to describe what they are feeling. Someone who needs to know that what they are experiencing has a name and that there is a way through. Thank you for watching the Health Sketchpad. Take care of yourself. And if you cannot take care of yourself right now, please let someone help you do it. I will see you in the next one.